Good day to you, ladies and gentlemen alike. I hope everybody is doing well. Captain Shandy here. Apologies, I haven't uploaded any videos for some time on this particular channel. I've been busy elsewhere on my other channel, which I will talk to you a little bit about between qualifying and the race. But for now, we're in Hungary, and this is qualifying, and we are underway. So it's nice to actually be somewhere that isn't Belgium or fucking Monza. I don't think we have had Hungary on any of our online races thus far, so a nice little bit of diversity within the races is very much appreciated as we go a little bit wide there. And then so far it's fairly tidy, but nothing outstanding. We come through to the quick left-hander, which we don't quite cut maybe as well as we can do, and a little bit wide of the apex, but again, tidy enough. And we come up to the chicane, and it's a invalidated lap time. It looked okay to start with, didn't quite get enough turning on the right-hand side. And yeah, that will be us starting towards the back of the grid. I'll just finish off the lap just to reacquaint myself with the track, as I haven't done it for some time. I do quite enjoy this track. People call it Monaco without the barriers, which just to an extent is true. It's tight, it's twisty, it's a very narrow track. It can be difficult to overtake. There's only really a couple of overtaking opportunities down here at the first corner, I should say, and maybe into the second one after the DRS as well. Other than that, it can be pretty tricky. You can occasionally make a move into the chicane, but that always comes with a bit of risk. So, yes, that will be the end of qualifying. We will start towards the back of the grid due to getting disqualified. But, yeah, as I was saying, I've been doing a lot of work on my other main channel, Captain Shandy. I'll pop up a little link for you to click there if you want to go and have a look and subscribe, as well as a video to the first of a series that I've put together over the course of lockdown. I'll pop a link for that into the description and a button at the end of the video for you guys to click if you want to go and have a look at that. It's very, very different. There's no gaming. It's all about sort of the political space and what's been going on in the world over lockdown, and just basically taking the piss out of a wide range of different people. So yeah, head across to there, click subscribe, get yourself notified. As I say, I'm going to keep uploading from now on these videos fairly regularly on this channel, but on the other one it will be a little bit more few and far between, so make sure you get notified so that you are up to speed. But for now, we jump into the race. We're not right at the back of the grid because we've had some late comers join the party, so although there's a bit of a gap, I do have some drivers behind me, as you can see there, sporting our new livery, which is a Union Jack, and I've used my usual My Team Career Mode colours, the blue, black and yellow for the flag. Looks rather nice. Hopefully we'll get a decent look at the car later on. But for now, we are going to go to 5 red lights, and they are out, and off we go. And we almost go into the back of Black Mick, but he has ghosted, fortunately. So in front of us we have now Dan Hab, Louis Sauer to the left, Rui Salsa, I should say, as we come over to the left-hand side, trying to find some space. Managed to do so. A gap opens up. It's not worth trying to get the car into there. That was always going to close. And we've made up a few places in the first lap and managed to get through it unscathed. So we come through the long left-hand hairpin, and you can see it's getting quite feisty in front between Rui Salsa and Dave. Rui Salsa drops right off the pace, and we have to try and find a bit of room around the outside, but get forced onto the graph. There just wasn't the room there, and we can see there that there was a spin. We managed to avoid it, and again, just slowing down in case anybody goes sideways like they have there, but fortunately they've ghosted, so we have got through unscathed, and we are up into 4th place. We're behind Dave V75, and we've got Eric Gons in behind us, as we get a warning for cutting a little bit of the track. And we come around the left-hander. We're fairly close to Dave. We don't have DRS yet, of course. This is only the end of lap 1, and we are under a second behind Dave. We also have less than a second behind us to Eric, so things are tight so far. We'll have to see how things go on to lap 3. It's very difficult to make a move without the DRS around this track, although it looks as though Eric's going to have a go anyway and kind of comes out of nowhere and bombs me a little bit. There was never going to be any space there, as the two behind me are scrapping for position, and they're both on my backside, and I'm getting close to Dave's rear wheels as well as we come up the quick right-hander onto the straight into this quick left-hander at the top of the hill. Managed to take that quite nicely, and we're right up behind Dave. We've got the pace on him. Can we get him round the outside? It's going to be too ambitious there. We have the chicane coming up. Are we going to make a move into the chicane? No, we're not. We're going to cut the corner though and get ourselves a warning for it. I wasn't quite sure where to go. Dave was blocking up a lot of the track, and we just hang on to the back of this car as he holds us up slightly, and we have to ease off the accelerator. And we're definitely quicker than him. He's holding us up, there's no doubt about that. So we're going to have a little look round the outside now into third gear in the right hander, and we go off the track and back on, but we do manage to make it stick. And I'm not quite sure what happened with the recording there. There seemed to be a little jump, but nevertheless,
we can now use DRS. DRS now available.
Thank you, Jeff. We now have DRS available, but we're not really close enough to I'm Danny to make a move, and we still have Eric Gons in behind us, and he is, but it looks like there's, just as I say that, commentator's curse, there's been an accident. I didn't see what happened. I know the two of them were fairly close together behind me, but the result is that we now don't really have too much pressure on us. We've got Robo Jobo just over a second behind. We've got I'm Danny 1, 2, 3, 2.5 seconds in front of the leader, CL Packy. Can I say that? I've said it. It's his name, or her name. They're almost 11 seconds in front, which within 3 laps is absolutely outstanding. So this may not be the highest quality lobby. I've managed to get myself put into lower lobbies because of my shitty driving. My safety rating isn't as high as it should be. In terms of ability, I seem to be getting put in lobbies where usually I'm one of the stronger drivers there, but CL Packy 16 has just absolutely fucking obliterated everyone. They're in their very own race, and even in the time of me explaining to you how much quicker they are than us, they have managed to gain another 2 seconds on everybody. And as we talk about that down the right hand side, we just cannot keep with Robo Jobo. He had the DRS and he had the slipstream, and there was nothing that we could really do. And so, as Jeff kindly points out, we are now down into 4th place, and I'm not quite sure we have got the pace to catch Robo Jobo. As you can see again, he has just taken off. I think there's some drivers that are very quick. If you take off the assists as well, if you take off things like traction control and you learn to master how to handle the car in those conditions, you can get genuinely more pace out of a lap than you can if you've got assists on. So there is partly that. There's also the fact that, you know, the racing line, the braking points, hitting the apex, not getting caught up in traffic, that do make a big difference. You can see Robo Jobo here, despite flying past me, he's quickly caught up with I'm Danny 1, 2, 3, and now he has some problems getting past him, but he's still stuck behind him from now, and I'm actually catching. Because those two are fighting, you can argue that both drivers are quicker than me in clean air. They've both proven that so far, really, but as they begin to have a little bit of a scrap, I am slowly but surely catching up. And once again, we have a little jump. I'm not quite sure what's going on with the recording there. Thankfully, it's only a couple of seconds every now and again. I really don't know what's causing that, but it just seems to be only be happening on the last corner as well, which is strange. As we come into the left-hander in this final lap now, are we going to be close enough to make a move to Robo Jobo? He looks like he has dropped off of I'm Danny, and we could try and make a move here to get into the podium positions as we get yellow flags. I'm not quite sure what's happened. Someone's slowed down, and the three of us are now pretty close together. It's going to be hard for anybody to make it. Oh, and Robo Jobo just flings it up the inside and then cuts the corner across from I'm Danny. I'm pretty sure he'll pick up a penalty for that. I'm surprised he hasn't just let Danny back ahead, because that will be a 5-second penalty, I imagine, as a minimum, for cutting the corner that severely and taking a place and not yielding, if he has indeed been asked to let Danny past him. So we're just going to stick close to the back of Danny, hope there's some penalties. You never know, we might manage to find our way onto the podium. as we have another yellow flag and the leader comes across the line. And Robo Jobo is going to cross the line second. And Danny's going to cross the line third. I'm going to go fourth as CL Packy gets the quickest lap of the race. No surprises there, really. And you can see we have been moved up into third. Robo Jobo has been pushed down, I presume probably for cutting that corner past Danny. Maybe cutting a few corners on his way to catching me as well. As we wait for the final competitors to cross the line, one DNF for Keeson and one disqualified for Black Mick, I presume, or BLCK Mick. I presume actually he didn't even start the race because we ghosted through him from the start line, and that would have been the reason why he was disqualified. So we get third place, which is nice. Robo Jover gets driver of the day. I'm not quite sure where he came from. He's certainly quick, but yeah, a bit impatient at the chicane. You can see we've got our dinner suit jacket on there to go with our very British themed car. We're very James Bond. One day we're hoping to obviously make Captain Shandy a more recognised global brand than James Bond someday in the future. I do look a bit like Daniel Craig. But that was that. So a nice start to the day in third. Still get pushed down on the safety rating. We're down almost into the doldrums of D, where the real scumbags reside. Which is odd, because I don't really remember touching anybody in that race. I cut a few corners, but again, didn't pick up a penalty. Only 2 or 3. So, yeah, a bit disappointed really. But going from 10th on the grid to 3rd. No penalties. A fairly decent quickest. Like, look at that. CL Packy with a 16.777. It's almost 3 seconds a lap quicker than my best. That is an absolute eternity on a racetrack that isn't particularly big. It's not like we're talking about, you know, Spa here. This is not a particularly long track, and 3 seconds is a monumental amount of time. So fair play to him. He's obviously quick. Robo Jobo decides to fucking do one, and we're going to jump into the next race at the... Well, we'll find out soon. Looks like Abu Dhabi. But as you are about to see, we will actually be heading to Zandvoort in Holland. So again, an interesting race. Due to the fact, partly because we haven't had a race here yet in the online races that I've done or anything that I've posted online. I don't think I've done one full stop in any online mode. I have been here in my career mode, and it took me some time to learn the track. You know, it is very much a matter of sort of rhythm and momentum. It's very flowing, corner to corner, so you really got to make sure you hit the apexes and change direction nice and swiftly at the right times, get your timing right on the turn-ins, etc. It's a lovely track though. Once you do get used to it, and once you have learnt it, it's thoroughly easy to enjoy. So this time we're going to go again for qualifying, and hopefully we won't get ourselves disqualified as we make a little mistake into turn 1 and just have to correct. So a little bit of time lost there already, but we come quickly through the long left-handed hairpin and down the hill, and then we come back towards the right-hander, up the hill and back down again. I love the elevation changes here. They really make it feel like you're on a roller coaster as you fly around this track and into the right-hander, keeping the foot in as much as we can, being careful not to go too wide and get ourselves a penalty of some sort. And into the left-hander, getting nice and tight into the apex, onto the power. Again, don't want to get too wide, and we click the DRS. Into the tight right-hander, we can cut a bit of the corner here, go easy on the throttle, turn in left again. Just be patient until you get your foot down onto the throttle, otherwise you'll lose it. And then into the right-hander, nice and slow to make sure we've got the pace coming out of it, and up the bank, right long right-hander, DRS open, and across the line. Let's see how we have done. My first qualifying attempt online at Zandvoort. And we have managed to get ourselves into 4th place. That's not too bad. That is not too bad. You can see there we've got CL Paki and somebody else. I think it was Dan or somebody from the previous race that finished above us. Are both behind us. So we get a record at the Netherlands for our lap time. I'm guessing you have to do that on online mode. I'm sure I would have gone quicker than that in my career mode, although to be fair, at the time the car was still in its early days, so maybe it wasn't as quick as the online cars. But as you can see, we are 4th. We've got Eric Gon behind us, who we had behind us in the last race, and as I said, a few of the faster drivers from the last race are starting behind. So let's see what we can achieve here at Zandvoort. As I say, it's a track that I quite enjoy, so breaking our virginity to this track online, it's going to be interesting to see how the other drivers behave. And we go into the race. Overcast, not going to be wet, fortunately. And we start along the inside line, which will probably be helpful as well. We can make our way out onto the racing line. Hopefully we won't get too blocked off. We'll hold that inside line into the hairpin as we wait for the last couple of drivers to connect. And we go to 3, 4, 5 red lights. They're out and we're off. And we get a good start, and we go past TJ Carlo on the inside, and we hold it round the inside, turning in as we get squeezed, and just leaving the room there for TJ Carlo to come back through, trying to desperately avoid other drivers. I really want to improve my driver safety racing, and the best way to do that is to avoid other drivers, as TJ Carlo is a little bit all over the place. He looks a little bit laggy, and as you know, I trust players with bad connections about as much as I would trust the McCanns to look after my kid on holiday. Fortunately, we've got past him, and we are back up into 3rd place as we take that right-hander far too narrow and get a wheel onto the grass.
We're looking good so far.
And get ourselves a warning for corner cut. But as Jeff says, we're looking good so far. Managed to get ourselves up into 3rd place off at the start. Looks like I'm Danny and Kevin 389 might be quite quick, but we're going to try and stay with them. Hopefully they get a little bit closer to each other and start fighting. But I've got problems of my own at the moment with TJ Carlo right up my chuff, and looking to see if he can find a way to slip it up the inside or along the outside. But we have managed to take that right-hander fairly well and break ourselves a bit of a gap, as much as half a second for a moment there to TJ Carlo. But he certainly seems to have a little bit on us in the corners, particularly the tighter ones. So we've got to make sure we keep the car nice and wide and defend from him without losing too much time. Again, he's just dropped off on the traction on the way out of the corner, so a little bit of breathing space for ourselves now, about half a second. We're a second and a half behind I'm Danny in front, and just over that from Kevin. They're less than a half a second splits those two. So again, let's hope that they can start fighting. And
Okay, clear.
as there's some yellow flags go up, and we can begin to catch, as TJ Carlo again is right up my backside, but again dropping off on the way out of the corner. He seems to be very quick on the way into the corners and putting the pressure on, but extremely slow on the way out. So every time we manage to pull back away from him, although this time he sticks a little bit closer to our back end out of the left-hander as we take the slower right-hander into the fast banked right-hander, and he is close. We don't have DRS yet, but he might have the slipstream and he might just have the pace. We go into Rich Mix and overtake, and that is enough to keep us ahead as he comes and dives into the space. And to be fair, that was a decent move. I've turned into him a little bit there. I should have probably left him in the space. I didn't really expect him to be there. It looked like he'd backed out by the proximity arrows. It looks like he was going to make a move and backed out, but he didn't. And fair play to him. He's managed to make it stick, and the contact there really was my fault. I've turned into him. If I was a little bit more aware, I'd have known he was there and just left a little bit more room. So that's on me. And he has managed to build a a second or so, well, second and a half, pretty much a gap pretty quickly, as I'm a little bit flustered after that contact. And I think you can see he was waiting to get past me for a while. I probably was holding him up a fair bit. So now we are on our own, more or less. We've got a 2-second gap in front. We've got a second and a half behind, so things are fairly comfortable. We're on lap 3. And now it's a case of really seeing if we can just be sensible, hold on to 4th spot, not pick up any more warnings, certainly not any warnings for contact, and to see if we can sort of guide the car home. And again, you never know.
The car in front is 2.9 seconds.
2.9 seconds for the car in front, according to Jeff. But again, you never know who has picked up penalties in terms of tyre penalties and whatnot, who's in front of you. So it's always worth just keeping the pace going. There's nothing worse. I've done it before in previous games where you're so far behind or what have you, you just don't see any way of catching the person in front. You let off, you take it easy, no one behind you is going to catch you, and then you realise at the end of the race they had a 5-second penalty, and if you'd have just gone half a second quicker over the course of 3 or 4 laps, then you would have gained a place. But you didn't do that, because sort of took the foot off the gas due to thinking that there was nothing to play for. So it's just worth always keeping in mind there's always something to race for, because you just don't know what the situation is in front, and you don't know what penalties people may have. So hit the lap, especially on a 5-lap race, there's no real need to nurse the car or the tyres or to look after it like there might be if you're in a proper long Grand Prix. Or as we go wide there and get a left wheel on the dirt, and that will slow us down quite significantly as we get a right wheel on it as well. And you can see the gap now is close to half a second, less than that, to Eric behind due to those mistakes. So now he is right up our backside, and we put ourselves under a bit of pressure on this last lap as we go into the right hander and into the left chicane up the hill. And we've got a tiny bit of breathing space. We've got about half a second to Eric at the moment. So another reason to get a move on, not just now because we might have penalties in front of us, but simply just to try and hold on to this 4th spot might be quite tricky. So we've got to make sure we've got our foot in the pedal and our head in the game as we come around the right hander. And Eric seems to be getting closer and closer and closer. At this stage he definitely seems to have a little bit more pace and confidence than I do, but we've just got to make it through a few more corners. So let's be sensible, slow and steady into the race as we start breaking into the right hand turn. Oh, we get smashed, absolutely smashed up the backside by Eric. Now I know I may have broke a little bit early for that corner, maybe a tiny bit earlier than I would have normally, but he's really smashed into me at some fucking pace there. So he was clearly going a lot quicker than I was, and really I'm surprised he wasn't down my inside. I thought he was going to try and make a move, so I thought I'd try and brake early in order to get in on the left-hander quickly and be able to get out of there with a bit of pace. But he obviously didn't read my intentions at all. I'm not sure he would have broken time for the corner himself, to be fair, having hit me at that pace, if I wasn't there. So a bit disappointing, because we had a nice 4th place on the cards there with minimal contact with anybody, one little tap, which was my fault, and instead we're probably going to get punished on our driver rating, safety rating, because of the contact with Eric, despite us not having too much to do with that. And yeah, we've obviously lost 3 places because of it as well, so not particularly happy about that. That's pissed me off as we watch Sebas, the final driver, crawl across the line. So 7th place at the end of that race, despite spending a majority of it in the top 4. Dave gets driver of the day, fair play to him. And that's that, as you can see. So a semi-successful day's racing today. I don't know where you are in the world watching, but if you are in the UK, then you will know that it has been fucking roasting this week, where to the point where even playing video games and having to move your thumbs that much and think that much is fucking exhausting. It's absolutely oppressive. So just a couple of games today. I will upload some more videos in the, well, maybe even tomorrow or over the weekend, we will see what I have time-wise, because I do myself have football and social plans, etc. over the weekend. Of course, the F1's on as well. So, yeah, we will see what gives. But for now, thank you very much if you have stuck here till the end. Good to be back. I will continue uploading more videos. Once again, just a reminder, pop across to my main channel. I will pop all the details in the description for you, including the link to that channel and the first episode of my new series. So head across there. And yeah, in the meantime, people, stay cool, stay safe, and I'll be back soon. Laters.